Hello everyone, my name is Sumit Yadav. I am a student of NIT Andhra Pradesh Electronics and Communication Engineering branch. I am here to give a presentation on the topic of vacuum tube. So let's start. Introduction. Vacuum tubes were the device that were primarily used in place of transistor. It was used for amplification and also as switches in radios, television, and computers. So now here we have a picture of vacuum tube, its inner structures, and here we can see that there is a cathode, which is a rod, and on the outermost side there is a covering of metal that is called anode. So cathode emits electron and anode receives that electron, and in between these two cathode and anode we have a net-like structure called as grid. This grid actually helps us to control the current that is go flowing between cathode and anode, and later on we'll see how to it works. And this is a diagrammatical representation of our vacuum tube. Now we have thermionic emission process. So basically thermionic emission process is the emission of electrons due to heat, and it helps to emit the electrons so that one-sided electron flow we can get. And now coming on the another point, that is electron flow to anode. So when electron is emitted using thermionic emission process, then it gets attracted toward anode due to the presence of electric field, and this gives us a current, and that can be controlled with grid functionality, because grid is provided with some negative or positive voltage that accelerates or repels the electron, which affects the mobility of electron. Now we have fourth point, amplification of signals. So we know that if we can control the intensity of current inside the vacuum tube, we can amplify the signals. So basically, it was used as an amplifier of signals. Now it has switching capabilities also, and in application of technology, it was used majorly in radios, audio equipments, and other devices. Now here we have a animation that shows us how it used to work. Now here we can see when negative charge is given, the electrons are getting repulsed by this grid because of the negative charge. And now when positive is given, they get accelerated even further more than the normal speed. And this way we can control using grid our current in the vacuum tubes. Now coming on the vacuum tubes versus solid state devices. That's a very interesting comparison between these two. So here we have size comparison. So basically vacuum tubes are larger and solid states are more compact, and they are smaller in size, which lets us make some fabulous processes and do all these VLSI and other technologies. Now coming to the power consumption, so vacuum tubes has higher power consumption, and that's obvious because they have the thermionic emission process, which itself is a very power consuming process. And solid state devices are very power efficient and fragility. So vacuum tubes are very fragile, and the solid states are very durable because they don't have any mechanical or heating part. That's why. Now applications, so they were preferred for audio amplification because they had a very rich audio amplification. Even nowadays, it is used for audio amplification, and the solid state devices are used also, but their audio amplification is not that good in comparison with vacuum tubes. Now, sound characteristic, unique sound characteristic, standard sound reproduction, as I already told you. Durability, so they are less durable and they are highly durable because they are dependent on heating elements that makes us them less durable. Heat generation, so they generally heat generate a lot, and that's because they have their mechanism based on heating process only, and they generally do not produce that much heat. And the development era, so it was in the earlier technologies, and that was before 1950s. And nowadays we have, in modern technologies, we have solid state devices because they have a very high frequency and switching capabilities. Now, there are some fascinating insights into vacuum tubes. We can call them as facts. So, first, we have that in modern day, vacuum tubes are still used in high-end sound amplifiers due to their excellent sound quality. As I already told you, vacuum tubes is a very rich amplification of sound. That's why in very expensive or very professional sound amplifiers, vacuum tubes are still used for their excellent quality of sound amplification. And another fact is that ENIAC was the first computer that was made by vacuum tubes, and it was made for around 17,468 vacuum tubes in 1945, and it was around as big as a hall. And coming to the next, unlike transistor, vacuum tubes are resistant to radiation, making them useful in space technologies and nuclear environments. So basically, transistors are prone to radiation and vacuum tubes are not. So that's why in space technologies and nuclear affected areas, place where radiation plays a crucial role, there we can use vacuum tubes instead of transistor, and this makes them useful even today also in the modern era. Now I have taken the data from Wikipedia, YouTube, and ChatGPT. Now, I will like to acknowledge my digital system and design teacher, Dr. Kulli Kishore Kumar sir, who gave me this wonderful opportunity to learn something new, and his support and encouragement means a lot to me, and I would like to thank him a lot. And thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for giving your time for this presentation.